One of the worst things about my job is watching people make mistakes in their retirement plans. And recently we met with a family that, like most people, had managed their finances for their whole lives. They did have a retirement plan made for them not too long ago that said they had roughly around $1.7 million. So they weren't doing poorly by any means. And they wanted to talk to us because now their projections were showing that they were going to run out of money by age 78. They were confused at how they went from having $1.7 million to running out of money. And before you think, oh, they must have been spending like crazy, that wasn't it. So today we're going to cover the 3 biggest mistakes that put them on that path and what they could have done for each one to help avoid being in this situation. And you're not going to want to miss the ending where we talk about how they could have seen this coming well ahead of time. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Thiago and my team and I help federal employees make better retirement plans. And we can only work with so many families each year, and so we made this channel to show what's working well for them. So if you're retired or coming up to it soon, you can learn how to plan a better retirement by subscribing to our channel to get more videos just like this. And if you want, you can visit our website where we have a newsletter that goes into much greater detail than we do on these videos. Okay, so we took a look at their plan and tried to figure out what went wrong over the last few years that put them on this path. And here's what we found. The first big reason that they're running out of money is because they didn't address something called sequence of returns risk. Now, you might have heard of this before, but if you haven't, it's essentially the risk that your investments could have less favorable returns during a period of time where you're drawing from your portfolio, like when you're in retirement. Let's look at it together. This graphic is from BlackRock and it shows 3 portfolios that each have the same average annual return. But you'll notice that each of them has a different sequence that the returns are applied. Nevertheless, the average annual return is still the same. In this model, we can see that they all end up in just about the same place, even though the pathway there was different for each of them. But this changes when you factor in withdrawals. This next graphic is exactly the same scenario as before, only now we have withdrawals factored in. So this is like if someone is taking money from their portfolio to help pay for expenses in retirement. Or maybe even RMDs when the IRS forces you to take money out of your traditional retirement accounts. You can see that having a different sequence of investment returns creates the risk that sometimes it can deplete your portfolio much sooner than others. So how could they have avoided this? This one's tough because you can't control the markets, but like we always tell our clients, you can control how you participate in the markets. So if they had done some modeling, particularly one called Monte Carlo analysis, they may have been able to see that their plan was not sustainable. Monte Carlo is a form of financial modeling that shows the probability of success by applying a specific scenario to 1,000 various market returns. Doing this might have shown them that there was a significant amount of risk present in their retirement plan. Now, the next factor in their trajectory of running out of money goes hand in hand with this last one. We noticed that they didn't have a distribution plan in place. So let me explain what this one is. But in the meantime, do us a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. We have a lot more videos like this coming out soon and you don't want to miss them. Okay, so this family didn't have a distribution plan in place. Let's look at this. When you have a portfolio, it should be invested in various things like stocks and bonds and money markets. We know that, right? Well, when you take money out of your portfolio, let's say $7,000, do we simply say, hey, I'm going to take $7,000 from my entire portfolio? If you're in the TSP, that's how it works, but the proper way to do it is to look at your overall asset allocation and say, hey, which one of these investments, maybe this one or this one, would be most appropriate for us to liquidate and generate the $7,000 that we need? So similar to sequence of returns, you don't want to sell investments that maybe have fallen in value and then making those losses permanent. Because if you do that, you took those investments out of the market and you removed the opportunity for them to ever regrow again. Instead, a better plan would have been to have a system that says, okay, for the next 4 years, we're gonna need $7,000 a month until Social Security kicks in. So what parts of our portfolio should that come from to minimize the risk of making the losses permanent? We've talked about using a bucket system before. That's where this starts to come into play. If you haven't seen that video yet, our team will leave a link in the description for you below. And the other part of this is which accounts should your withdrawals come from? If you're haphazardly just pulling money out of your portfolio without really thinking about it, you might actually be generating more taxes than you need to be paying for. And over time, that can really hurt your retirement plan. Maybe a combination of retirement accounts and savings might be best for you in the next few years. Or maybe you're in a low tax year and you should be paying taxes and not using after-tax money because you can be paying the taxes at low rates from this account. And this is where having projections about your income can be really helpful. Having a rough idea of what your income tax brackets might be in the future can help you figure out exactly how to use your money so that you're keeping the taxes as low as possible throughout your life. Okay, so as we looked through their plan, we started to see even more mistakes that caused this problem. We noticed that they didn't have a good plan around their investments. Now, I have a question for everyone watching. Think about how difficult the markets were last year. You'll recall there was a big sell-off in the stock market. How many of you either did or were tempted to move your TSP to the G fund? Or how about in 2020 when COVID first hit and everyone thought that the world was gonna end? Well, this family did too. You see, most people are trying to preserve their wealth in situations like that, and so they make moves without thinking about the true implications of what they're doing. If you did too, or you were thinking of doing it, where did that decision come from? It was visceral, right? You wanted to stop your account balance from dropping even more than it had. Well, if you did that after watching your TSP balance fall 10, 15% or more, did you get back into stocks before the market shot back up again? Chances are you didn't, and so you removed the opportunity for that money to have the chance of regrowing again. In October of 2022, the S&P grew by nearly 8%. Then in November by about 5%. Then again in January of this year by about 6%. And if you were in more conservative investments like the G fund, you missed out on that return. On the other hand, in December, it lost almost 6%. So you can see how important it is to have an investment plan that's gonna help you meet both your income needs and your growth needs. For most families that work with us here in Washington, D.C., it's expensive to be here, and so the total cost of their retirement is usually several millions of dollars. So they have to be making sure that their savings are going to last that long. Having too much cash means that they don't keep up with inflation. Remember, in the future, you're going to need inflation-adjusted income so that you can continue to live your life just the way you are. But being too aggressive means that you might have too much risk in your portfolio and cause bigger problems in your overall wealth. The sequence of the returns is more volatile and can become a problem for you. This family should have had an asset allocation that was appropriate for their goals, and they really didn't. They weren't set up in a way that would have helped them to maintain their financial independence. They could have planned how much income they were gonna need, say in increments of 5 years or so, then started putting together a portfolio strategy that would have helped them meet their next 5 years, then the years after that, adjusting for inflation each time. So how could they have seen this coming? The worst part about this is that they probably could have prevented this from being the case if they had just done some scenario planning along the way. One of the tools that our clients love the most is when we do what-if scenarios. What if we spend $6,000 a month instead of $4,000? What if inflation stays higher for longer? What if we stay this conservatively invested or this aggressively invested? What if we have an expensive health event, like a long-term care situation later in life? Once you see the results of these scenarios, you can begin to work out strategies that can help you prevent situations that might compromise your goals. And guys, I can't believe we've not talked about this enough, but we send out articles that go much deeper into all of these concepts than we do in these videos. And if you visit our website, the link's in the description, scroll down a bit and you'll see a place where it says get the inside scoop, and you can put your email on there. It's totally free, and we hate marketing emails, so all you'll get from us are some links to help you find content that you're interested in. So that's it for today. Leave a like if you found this helpful, and until next time, stay wise and stay wealthy.